Hello everyone and welcome back to Affinity for Commander. My name is Alex and today we're going to be taking a look at a commander I am fantastically excited about. Just before that though, as always, if you like any of the cards you see here or want to purchase the full deck list for yourself, then be sure to do so through any of our affiliate links in the description box below. It doesn't cost you anything extra, but really helps the channel out a lot. Now, let's take a look at the awesomeness that is Urza, Lord Protector. Urza, Lord Protector is a 2/4 legendary creature human artificer for 1 generic, 1 white, and 1 blue mana. He reads: Artifact, instant, and sorcery spells you cast cost 1 generic less to cast. And for 7 generic mana, if you both own and control Urza, Lord Protector, and an artifact named the Might Stone and Weak Stone, exile them. Then meld them into Urza Planeswalker. Activate only as a sorcery. And for the card that melds with Urza, the Might Stone and Weak Stone is a legendary artifact for 5 generic mana and reads: when this card enters the battlefield, choose 1. Draw 2 cards, or target creature gets -5/5 until the end of turn. And tap, add 2 colorless mana to your mana pool. This mana can't be spent to cast non-artifact spells. And should we have both of these cards out and meld them with Urza's ability, we get Urza Planeswalker, who enters with 7 loyalty counters and reads: once during each of your turns you may activate an additional loyalty ability of Urza Planeswalker. You may activate the same ability twice. +2, artifact, instant, and sorcery spells you cast this turn cost 2 generic less to cast. You gain 2 life. +1, draw 2 cards and discard a card. 0, create 2 1/1 colorless soldier artifact creature tokens. -3, exile target non-land permanent. And -10. Artifacts and planeswalkers you control gain indestructible until the end of turn. Destroy all non-land permanents. So first off, the meld ability looks incredibly steep for 7 generic mana, and you have to have the stones out as well, which is 5 generic mana in of itself and can be interrupted at any point. However, it is made easier with the design between these 2 cards. Urza, for example, makes the stones 1 generic mana cheaper, so it's only 4 mana to cast. And the stones tap for 2 mana to be able to help pay for the melding cost. So now we only need to find 5 additional mana to get the Daddy Urza out. So that's going to be pretty much the game plan. Ramp, meld, bury opponents in value, win. Starting off, we've got a few 1-drops to control the board and help out our artifact theme. Path to Exile, Swords to Plowshares, and Dispatch can get rid of any major creature issues by exiling them. Skullclamp can then make use of any servos or thopters we produce to draw more cards. Expedition Map can be cracked to find any useful lands, as we are running Tron. Because of course we are, come on, Urza is right there in their card names. And we're also of course running Enlightened Tutor to fetch up our stones for the correct moment. Moving on to the 2-drops, we've got multiple mana makers to help make our dreams come true. Azorius in Arcane Signet, as well as Talisman of Progress and Mindstone for ramp. Also Ornithopter of Paradise, Gold and Silver Mere for creature-based ramp, who are also artifacts for synergy. In addition to these, we've also got some means of making our spells cheaper in Artificer class, which when leveled can just start making us copies of our artifacts each turn. And Deep Gnome Terramancer helps us grab lands whenever our opponents crack a fetch or play something like Cultivate. We've also got more artifacts which Urza himself makes easier to cast. Imposter Mech can become a copy of any creature to get either a sweet ETB trigger or just a killer static effect. Lightning Greaves keeps our generals safe. Line Sash can be used as a deterrent for attacks by becoming huge, or making our Ornithopter a genuine threat. Plus, Graveyard Hatred. Speaking of Graveyard Hate, Unlicensed Hearse does something similar to the Sash, but it is never a creature, except when we want it to be. And to keep our Grand Artificer safe, Counterspell, Dovin's Veto, and Arcane Denial all prevent problems from resolving. And with Urza out, the denial is only 1 blue mana. At this point, we've also got the infinite combo for the deck, which, come on, we're playing Azorius with a Planeswalker essentially as our commander. Of course there's an infinite combo here. Isochrome's Scepter can just be a super annoying card by imprinting swords or counterspell under it. Or if we imprint Dramatic Reversal with the Scepter, then provided we've got mana rocks that can tap for more than 3 mana, we can tap and untap the Scepter and our rocks as many times as we want to produce as much mana as we desire. This can then be sunk into your preferred means of winning. Blue Sun Zenith your opponents out, make infinite dudes with Grand Crescendo, but for us we'll be using Staff of Domination, because nothing screams Urza like a magical staff and the word domination. With the staff we can gain as much life as we like, then untap and retap to draw our entire deck, and then win with the rather boring but predictably good Thassa's Oracle. And hey, if it works we're going to keep doing it until it stops working. Now moving on and up the curve, there's more permanence to keep our mana production high. Archaeomancer's Map grabs us 2 lands from our deck, and then can play any land to keep up with others that have ramped at the table, and Aerial Surveyor does something similar, but only on attack. Then we've got some cards to keep our artifact count high, and recur all important stones, should they be destroyed. Both Emry, Lurker of the Loch, and Hana, Ship's Navigator, let us grab back any artifact we want from the grave in 2 different ways. Either by just straight up casting it, or grabbing it back to hand to replay when we want. And to help get the stones in the first place, Fabricate allows us to straight up search for them, and Whir of Invention is a great instant speed means of putting them straight onto the battlefield, which again is 1 cheaper thanks to Urza. Another great blue artifact commander we're running is Sai, Master Thopterist. Not only does he generate a Thopter for every artifact we play, but can then generate us card advantage by sacrificing artifacts that we don't need anymore, which can then be returned with Emry, which is honestly just a lovely piece of synergy and interaction. So we've now ramped and got some good nice interactions going, but the 4-drop slot is where the deck really shines, hence the dire need to play Signets and Urza as quickly as possible to play as many of these cards as soon as. Vidalcan Archmage draws a card for every artifact we cast. Tishar, Ancestor's Apostle, lets us return any of our previously mentioned creatures to the battlefield with whenever we cast a historic spell. Speaking of historic spells, Wrath Capuchin, Ship's Mage, gives all of our historic spells flash. So that's flashing in our commander and flashing in the stones whenever we want to hopefully meld them at an opportune time. Shodakai Genesis Engine not only makes us dudes to crew our various vehicles, but also loots for 1 generic mana and can become a threat by themselves. Hitting our opponents for 8 damage a turn is nothing to joke about. And since we're on the playing broken commanders bandwagon, Urza Lord High Artificer is obviously great and makes a ton of mana by making all of our artifacts into blue Elvish Mystic. And he can equally serve as a replacement for Staff of Domination as an infinite mana sink to help win the game for us. The last 2 cards I want to talk about in the 4 CMC slot is Displacer Kitten, who can just flicker our rocks for more efficient mana on our turn, or if we've got Wrath out, help our creatures dodge removal by flashing in a Signet to flicker the target creature. And finally, the Josh Lee Kwai special of Vidalcan Ori is just a better version of Wrath in that it gives everything flash, and is one of the easier ways to make sure our meld goes off, as we can flash in either of the pieces in our opponent's turn. Up to the 5 drops now, and kicking it off with more flash action, Teferi, Mage of Zafir, gives our creatures, including Urza, flash, and stops our opponents from messing with our turns, or anyone else's for that matter. Tezzeret the Seeker can help us grab our Scepter for our combo, or just untap our mana rock to be used later to fetch our stones. Thoughtcast should be just 1 blue mana to draw 2 cards, which seems rather good. And finally, Time Wipe is a great board wipe to help bounce back any creature we desperately want to keep around while wiping the board of everything else. Now onto the high end of the curve, as this is where the really unfair cards live. Elspeth, Sun's Champion, might seem like a strange choice at first, but her minus doesn't hit Urza, and being able to generate 3 blocks a turn is a fantastic way to keep our life total steady while we get our melds together. Farewell and Duskstroke Dawn are our final board wipes, as Exile and Modality is amazing, and the Dawn half of the former lets us grab back so many of our important creatures from the yard, it's definitely worth to run it. And the last non-land card is Jin-Gitaxias Progress Tyrant, who would still be in here just for the first ability as a means of protecting Urza and our stones. But the second ability to also double up our artifacts, kill spells and tutors is just too good not to go in. So now we've got our game plan and means of supporting it. So going on to the lands, we've got a few unique ones to mention. Plus we're also running more basics than normal, especially planes. We want to make sure that we always hit those Gnome and Archaeomancer's map triggers after all. But other than basics, we're also running Academy Ruins to get back our stones should they be destroyed, Inventor's Fair for the touch of life gain plus the tutoring potential, Otawara Soaring City to protect either our commander or the stones from destruction, or just bounce a problematic permanent for a turn. And Terrain Generator is one of the few means of actual land ramp in Azorius. Finally, as mentioned, the Tron lands, Urza's Mine, Power Plant and Tower. By themselves they're just colorless lands, but if we manage to get them all out, better for making it easier to meld Urza with all of that colorless mana now floating around. Now overall, Urza Lord Protector is by no means as powerful as his previously obviously broken self. But that's kind of the point, he's not meant to be, he's not that person yet. He is still just Urza, he is trying to protect things. Then he finds the Might and Weak Stones, and then becomes the all-powerful Planeswalker that we all know and love. I mean, he's got 5 abilities that you can activate twice. If you get this meld off, you will be in a very commanding position in whatever game you are in. But even by himself, he makes all artifacts, instants, and sorceries 1 generic cheaper, which is already great for Azorius. The Might Stone and Weak Stones by themselves are a great artifact. And overall, I just like the flavour here. It is fantastically on point. And I cannot wait to run Urza and see the faces of everyone at the table when he flips and becomes the all-powerful Urza Planeswalker. And that'll be it for the video today, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. What is your favourite Azorius card? Whatever it is, put your thoughts in the comments below. We read every single one of them. As always, this content and all content on Affinity Commander is supported by our amazing patrons. You guys are truly awesome. If you too would like to become a patron of the channel and get access to exclusive EDH related rewards, then be sure to check out our Patreon link in the description box. But you can also support the channel in a number of other ways by liking this video, subscribing to the channel, leaving a comment below, or even following us on your preferred social media websites. But that'll be it from me for now, guys. I've been Alex, and I'll see you next time.